Hello and welcome back to Pseudo Gameplay TV. I'm your host Pseudo. Today we're back into Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 again for another character spotlight. And today we're going to have a look at the next in the alphabetical order of the heroes playable in the game, unlockable through the story, which is Black Widow. Now you'll see here Black Widow is wearing kind of an unconventional costume. This is one of her alternate outfits that can be unlocked in the Infinity Rifts. Of course you have the black outfit, which is standard when you first unlock her, and you can also change into the white alternate. Since I have that one, we'll go ahead and use it in today's video. And let's go ahead and have a look at her abilities really quickly before we get into the character breakdown. So as you can see here, Black Widow, as every character in the game, has 4 different moves that are bound to the different directional keys, as well as an ultimate ability, all of which we'll be showcasing in one of our Infinity Rifts today. So the first one is Covering Fire. This is where she pulls out her 2 handguns and repeatedly fires the 2 weapons. This is one of those ones that you can mash and continue to just use, as we've seen in the Let's Play series with a couple of other characters. Now her second attack is the Widow's Kiss. This is her tasing wristbands or gauntlets that she has there, or actually appears that it's both of her wands or these suppression sticks that we have here. So this is electricity. That also seems like it's something that you can just kind of mash. Actually, it appears... No, this is one that you can just hold and continue to use, whereas Covering Fire is one that can be mashed. Now, the third ability is the Widowmaker, which throws multiple time bombs out in front of the character. I expect this to be very akin, if not identical, to one of Deadpool's abilities, which we'll showcase in his own video, but if you want more information on what that looks like, check out the Let's Play series, as I do showcase that in some of the videos there. And then the fourth and final key ability is the Widow's Bite, and this is, I expect it to come more from her wrist gauntlets, though it appears that she plunges into the ground and creates a shockwave or an area of effect type ability. So the first 2 being ones that you can either mash or hold to continue to use, the second 2 being ones that trigger when activated. And then of course, we'll have a look at her ultimate attack here as we get into some more of the gameplay. So I've left the same type of team setup from the last video, mainly because Black Widow shares a lot of similar synergies that Black Panther does. But let's go ahead and dive into one of these rifts and have a look at how she plays in the game. Alright, so for today's video, let's go ahead and have a look at... It's a similar setup to the last video, but we're going to be defeating 200 enemies instead of 100 enemies. That should give us a little bit more time to look at each of her abilities and get kind of a little more of a breakdown there. And again, we'll be using exclusively Black Widow in this segment, as this is meant to be a spotlight for her and what she's capable of. So let's dive right in and see what it's like to use Black Widow.
Let's take him down.
Alright, so right off the bat, her medium attacks are pretty conventional, I guess you could say. And let's have a look at her heavy attack. Kind of a backwards kick that sends her enemies flying. And then her aerial, where she'll jump up and then spin and slam down on top of the opponents in the nearby vicinity. So, again, a very melee type fighter, similar to Black Panther, though Black Panther, as you'll remember, even his special abilities are uniquely melee based. So let's start looking into her abilities, starting with Covering Fire, which is the first one. And again, you can just kind of match it, put in a directional input to change where you want to place it. Works pretty well. Let's build back up some of our stamina meters so we can showcase the next ability. And it's not the greatest in terms of causing damage, but it affects a wide variety of characters all at the same time. Again, speaking of the move covering fire. So let's move on to the next one, the Widow's Kiss, and see how this one stacks up. So if you hold it, it'll keep engaging with the target that you have it on, and upon releasing the button, it will cause kind of the finishing portion of that move. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and have a look at her next ability, which is Widowmaker. Yeah, and that's pretty identical to what we've seen from Deadpool. But it's effective for damaging large quantities of enemies in a very close proximity. So, has its uses for sure. Now the last one we want to have a look at is the Widow's Bite. Again, probably best to do that in close proximity. And you'll see that it did stun some of these smaller enemies who don't have their stagger bars. So, definitely has uses. Let's pick up some more health here. And let's go ahead and showcase her ultimate ability, which seems to be a little bit of a combination of all of her different abilities. But good for dealing large amounts of damage to enemies. And do keep in mind that this is an attack, again, that's area of effect, but also should keep in mind that it did appear to draw some enemies in a little bit. Right, we've got some leveling up from some of these other characters, which is good, because they will be used for some of our future showcases. The Widowmaker move does appear to apply some pretty good shield pressure, which is good. Gotta be careful here as I am finding myself a little low on health.
Target engaged.
And I do have a perk unlocked that allows me to regain some health from ultimate abilities used. Looks like Miles has found himself in a bit of a sticky situation over here. But it appears that one of my teammates was able to revive him, get him off the ground. Alright, let's go ahead and do a little more. It does appear to damage the larger enemies if you're able to deplete their stagger bar, though, in terms of that Widow's Kiss there. Ooh, and it looks like I've been knocked out there. I wasn't quite able to clear the trial, but the point of this was to showcase Black Widow's abilities, and sure, the rest of my team was probably a little under-leveled for this raid, but it's been a good showcase of what she's capable of, how to use her, and whether or not you want to use her on your own team going forward. So, thanks for tuning in. We will be back with a showcase of the next character in the next installment. The next character we have on the list is Captain America. So let me know of the characters that you're excited to see in this series. Don't forget to check out my Let's Play of Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3. Be sure to subscribe, and as always, we'll catch you around in the next one.